The air shimmers with gold, as if sunlight itself has been captured and held between two souls. A silent tension fills the space, a fragile, electric moment frozen forever on canvas. When you first gaze upon the kiss, you are drawn into an intimate world that feels both private and eternal. Faces lean into each other, lips almost touching, while a cascade of ornate patterns and golden light envelopes them, dissolving the boundary between body and dream. There is beauty here, yes, but also a mysterious gravity, as if love itself has been transformed into an object of contemplation. Who are these lovers, and what secret binds them so completely? The painting whispers to us, promising passion, connection, and the delicate ache of desire, all while cloaking itself in shimmering mystery. In that moment, the viewer cannot help but pause, captivated, caught in the golden spell of longing and artistry. In the early years of the 20th century, Vienna was a city humming with rebellion and reinvention. Artists were breaking rules, thinkers were challenging the past, and the world felt as if it stood on the edge of something entirely new. In the middle of this vibrant storm stood Gustav Klimt, a man both adored and criticized, a painter who walked the thin line between tradition and revolution. He was weary of rigid academic expectations and hungry for an art form that spoke directly to the soul. And so he stepped away from the classical world that shaped him and entered the shimmering realm of the Vienna Secession, where beauty, symbolism, and emotion were allowed to breathe freely. It was during this period of artistic awakening that the first spark of the kiss flickered to life. Klimt had already weathered harsh criticism for works considered too daring, too sensual, too willing to reveal the human heart. Yet he did not retreat. Instead, he turned inward, searching for a way to express love that was both tender and transcendent. Some say he was inspired by the woman who stood by him for years, Emily Floge, a partner in spirit if not always in declaration. Others believe he wished to answer his critics with a masterpiece that was intimate yet universal, passionate yet sacred. Whatever its source, the idea began to take shape as a vision wrapped in gold, a dreamlike moment where two lovers are suspended outside time. In Klimt's studio, the world outside softened into quiet. He sketched obsessively, chasing the perfect curve of a shoulder, the perfect angle of a bent head. He experimented with motifs drawn from Byzantine mosaics, Japanese prints, and the symbolic language of his own imagination. Slowly, the painting's essence emerged, a story of love that would not be confined to a single era or a single pair of lovers. The kiss was not merely born from inspiration. It was forged from rebellion, longing, and a deep desire to create something that might outlive the artist himself. Through each stroke, Klimt sculpted not just an artwork, but a testament to the universal human hunger for connection. When you step closer to the kiss, it feels as though the entire canvas exhales, revealing layer after layer of intention. At first, your eyes are overwhelmed by gold, that radiant, molten glow that seems to spill beyond the frame. It wraps around the figures like a sacred aura, transforming them into icons suspended somewhere between reality and reverie. Yet the closer you look, the more the details begin to whisper their stories. The man leans forward, his body strong and angular, rendered in geometric patterns of rectangles and black blocks that announce his presence. The woman curves gently beneath him, enveloped in soft circles and floral motifs that echo growth, softness, and the quiet resilience of affection. Together, their shapes interlock like two halves of a forgotten myth. Their embrace is tender, but it also feels monumental. His hands cradle her face with deliberate care, fingers resting just lightly enough to suggest devotion rather than dominance. Her eyes are closed, her expression serene, almost surrendered, as if she is drifting into a moment she wishes would last forever. Their bodies disappear beneath a golden cloak that binds them into a single form, erasing the line between individuality and union. Klimt invites us to feel the warmth of that moment, the heartbeat of two people caught in an instant that defies time. Even the background refuses to be static. Gold dissolves into flecks of green and earthy tones at their feet, grounding the lovers just enough to keep them tethered to the world. The patch of wildflowers beneath them is rich with symbolism, suggesting fertility, rebirth, and the fragile beauty of moments that bloom and vanish. Texture plays a vital role here. Klimt used gold leaf to create a luminous surface that shifts with the light, making the painting feel alive, as though the golden aura pulses with every breath of the viewer. With every detail you uncover, the painting reveals not only a love story, but a world built from symbols, feelings, and visual poetry. In the stillness of his studio, surrounded by sketches and fragments of gold leaf, he questioned whether he could create a masterpiece that bridged the gap between love's vulnerability and its grandeur. The kiss emerged from this inner conflict, shaped not only by artistic ambition but by the struggle to reconcile desire, criticism, morality, and truth itself. When the painting was finally revealed, something unexpected happened. The controversy that had shadowed Klimt for years seemed to loosen its grip, replaced by a quiet awe that spread through Vienna and beyond. Viewers stood before the kiss in silence, drawn into its warmth, its serenity, its unmistakable sense of unity. Critics who once dismissed Klimt as excessive or indecent struggled to deny the emotional depth of what they saw. The artwork did not provoke anger or scandal. Instead, it softened people. It made them pause. It made them feel. And in that gentle shift, Klimt found a resolution he had long sought. The kiss became a turning point, not only in Klimt's career but in the cultural life of the era. It bridged the divide between traditional beauty and modern experimentation, proving that innovation didn't have to alienate. It could illuminate. It could connect. Art historians later described it as a moment when Klimt's voice finally settled into its true form, confident and unmistakably his. The painting resonated because it spoke a universal language, one that required no translation, the language of affection, longing, and human connection. But beyond the lovers, beyond their quiet intensity, lies an even greater message. The kiss reminds us that art can capture what language fails to express. It shows that tenderness can be monumental, that silence can be thunderous, and that intimacy can be as grand as any cathedral. Klimt transforms a private moment into a universal truth, that love, in its purest form, is both an anchor and a flight. It holds us steady while letting us drift into something larger than ourselves. In this gilded moment, he reveals not only what it means to love, but what it means to be human. As the golden glow of the painting slowly fades from view, one truth lingers in the mind: some moments are too powerful to belong to just one pair of lovers. The kiss hums with a quiet eternity, as if preserving a heartbeat that refuses to be forgotten. It reminds us that tenderness can echo across centuries, carried not by words but by the simple gesture of two people leaning into each other. And in that soft embrace, we recognize pieces of ourselves, our hopes, our fears, our longing to be held in a world that often moves too fast. The painting closes its story with a silence that feels almost sacred. It leaves us standing on the edge of that cliff of wildflowers, suspended between the earthly and the divine, wondering how a single moment can contain so much beauty. Perhaps that is the true magic of Klimt's creation. It does not end. It simply waits, shimmering quietly, ready to speak to anyone willing to stop and listen. And maybe, just maybe, the story of this masterpiece is still unfolding.